The invitation had been a surprise, a cruel joke almost. Derek, my ex-fiancé, engaged to someone else, and he'd invited me to the party. I'd RSVP'd no, of course. A polite, distant refusal. But then, his mother called, all syrupy sweetness, saying how much it would mean, how it showed no hard feelings. Like a fool, I'd let her sway me. So here I am. The metallic taste of champagne, usually a celebratory fizz, turns bitter on my tongue as I stand in the doorway of the grand ballroom. Clinking glasses and muted conversations create a backdrop for the scene unfolding before me. Derek, laughing, his arm around her. Jessica, she's bright, blonde. Everything I'm not. My hand trembles just slightly and I watch them, a knot tightening in my stomach. He hasn't even seen me. Or if he has, he's chosen to ignore it. Again, that was always his specialty. I remember countless times, my voice unheard, my presence dismissed. Dinners where he'd talk over me to his friends. Family events where my opinion was a whisper he never strained to catch. The sharp sting of being invisible next to the man who is supposed to see me more clearly than anyone. The warmth of the room feels suffocating. The scent of expensive perfume and even more expensive food suddenly cloying. A server offers me another glass and I almost laugh. Untouched champagne for an unnoticed guest. Perfect. My heart pounds, a frantic bird against my ribs. This has to stop. I have to stop this. With a calmness that surprises even me, I place my untouched flute on a passing tray. The crystal makes a soft clink. It's a tiny sound, lost in the polite din. But for me, it's a full stop. A period at the end of a very long, very painful sentence. I turn and walk out. No drama, no scene. Just an exit. The cool night air hits my face as I step onto the sidewalk. It's a relief after the stuffy ballroom. I take a deep breath, then another. The city lights blur for a moment. A wave of dizziness washes over me, sudden and intense. My knees buckle. The scent of lilies from the venue's extravagant floral displays is abruptly replaced by something else. Lavender? Cheap lavender body spray. My head spins, the ground rushes up, and then darkness. No, not darkness. Fluorescent light. I blink. I'm in a room, a small room. My hand flies to my head, no bump. But the dizziness lingers, a weird, floaty feeling. My eyes try to focus. Posters on the wall bands I haven't thought about in years. A cluttered desk. Textbooks. College textbooks. My gaze lands on a full-length mirror leaning against the far wall. I stumble towards it, my reflection wavering. Younger. So much younger. My old college sweatshirt. What in the world? I'm standing in my junior year dorm room, 10 years ago. The lavender scent. It's the body spray I used to drench myself in. My heart hammers against my ribs, a wild, panicked beat. This is impossible. I squeeze my eyes shut, then open them again. Still here, still then. The metallic tang in my mouth is gone, replaced by the faint, sweet taste of the cheap lip gloss I used to love. My hands, they're not trembling anymore. They're just confused. A wave of nausea hits me, and I sit heavily on the narrow bed, the springs creaking in a familiar way. 10 years earlier, Derek's engagement party. It hasn't happened yet. Our entire relationship. Our disastrous engagement. His constant dismissals. None of it. Not for this version of me. A strange, wild hope begins to tremble through the panic. A second chance? Could it be? The weight of years of being ignored, of being made to feel small, presses down on me and then just as quickly lifts. I remember every slight, every casually cruel remark, every time he made me feel like an afterthought. The sting is still there, a ghost pain, but it's different now. It's fuel. The party tonight. Her roommate's voice, distant, as if from another room or another lifetime, echoes in my mind. Derek's throwing a party tonight. The party where we first got together, the starting line of all that pain. My breath catches. Oh, this changes everything. The initial shock wears off, replaced by a trembling awareness. I'm really here. Junior year. The dorm room is exactly as I remember it, right down to the faint, sweet scent of that awful lavender body spray I thought was sophisticated. My fingers trace the worn cover of a poetry anthology on my nightstand, a book I'd later lend to Derek, a book he'd lose without a second thought. The memory sends a small, sharp pang through me. I get up, my legs still a little unsteady, and walk back to the mirror. The face staring back is mine, but fresher, fewer lines of worry around the eyes. The weight of 10 years of disappointment hasn't settled on these shoulders yet. Panic tries to claw its way back up my throat. How is this possible? Am I dreaming? Did I hit my head? But the details are too real, too specific. The chipped paint on the windowsill, the specific way the overhead fluorescent light hums, the faint, almost imperceptible aroma of stale pizza from the common room down the hall. Slowly, painstakingly, I piece it together. The engagement party, the dizziness. And now, this. It's a rebirth, an impossible, unbelievable second chance. My mind races, a chaotic slideshow of memories. Derek forgetting my birthday. Derek scoffing at my career ambitions. Derek choosing his friends, his hobbies, his own reflection over me time and time again. The metallic taste of that bitter champagne from the future? Or was it the past now? Lingers like a phantom. Each memory is a fresh wave of hurt, but now it's different. It's not just pain, it's information. It's a roadmap of what not to do, who not to be. I find my old phone, a clunky pre-smartphone model. His name is there in the contacts. Derek M. My thumb hovers over the delete button. There's a moment of hesitation, a ghost of the old affection, the hope I once had. Then the image of him at that engagement party, his arm around Jessica, his easy laughter as I stood there, invisible, flashes in my mind. My finger presses down. Deleted. A small, quiet click. A tiny act of defiance, but it feels monumental. A wave of something like relief, cool and clean, washes over me. The air in the dorm room suddenly seems easier to breathe. Maya, you coming tonight? My roommate, Sarah, pokes her head in, her expression bright and oblivious. Derek's party? It's going to be epic. My heart gives a little jump. The party. The one where our disastrous story began. Where I, naive and eager to be liked, fell for his surface-level charm. The scent of her strawberry lip gloss, a smell I haven't encountered in years, fills the space between us for a moment. I look at Sarah, a genuine smile touching my lips for what feels like the first time in this new old life. You know, Sarah, I say, my voice surprisingly steady, I think I've got other plans. Her eyebrows shoot up. Other plans than Derek's party? What's more important than that? A small, secret thrill courses through me. Oh, you have no idea. The seeds of a plan, vague and unformed but undeniably there, begin to sprout. Revenge is too simple a word for what I'm feeling. This is about rewriting my story, and this time, I'm holding the pen. The faint scent of opportunity, far sweeter than lavender, hangs in the air. The next few days are a blur of feigned normalcy and frantic, secret activity. I go to classes, I smile at Sarah, I pretend to be the same Maya I was 10 years ago. But inside, I'm a whirlwind of calculations and memories. The old hurt is a constant thrum beneath the surface, but now it's overlaid with a new, sharp focus. Derek still exists in this timeline, oblivious and arrogant as ever. I see him on campus, laughing with his friends, the king of his small world. Each sighting is a fresh prick of motivation. He'll try to charm me again, I know his patterns. But this Maya isn't susceptible. My nights are spent hunched over my laptop, the soft clicking of the keys a rhythmic counterpoint to the late-night quiet of the dorm. The library's Wi-Fi is slow and unreliable, a relic of a less connected age, but I persevere. My target, Meridian Events, the venue, the scene of my future humiliation, and now the potential stage for my vindication. The scent of old books and dust in the deserted library stacks becomes my companion. I dig into property records, business filings, old news articles. It's slow, painstaking work. Meridian Events, in this timeline, is a relatively new venture, struggling to find its footing. Financial reports, where I can find them, paint a picture of ambition outstripping capital. They're over-leveraged, taking risks. My heart quickens. I remember from my other life that it eventually became the place for upscale events, but that success was years away. Right now, it's vulnerable. The faint aroma of the cheap coffee I'm chain drinking does little to soothe the tremor of excitement in my hands. A memory surfaces. Derek, a few years into our relationship, smugly talking about a fantastic deal he got on a venue for some corporate event he was peripherally involved in. The owners were desperate, he'd bragged, the taste of his expensive wine sharp and telling on his breath. Meridian events. It had to be. He'd always been an opportunist, sniffing out weakness. The pieces click into place. The venue, his future engagement party, my ignored RSVP. It's a perfect storm of irony and opportunity. I can't just not go to the party. I can do so much more. A shiver runs down my spine. Not of fear, but of thrilling, audacious possibility. My fingers tremble as I type. A new search query now. How to buy a commercial property. Venture capital for young entrepreneurs. My trust fund. In my original timeline, I'd let it sit, barely touching it, intimidated by the responsibility. Derek had often made comments about it, half joking, half covetous. Imagine what we could do with that, Maya. We, never me. Now it's my weapon. I start the process, liquidating a portion, the digital paperwork feeling strangely empowering. The faint, sterile scent of the online banking portal is the perfume of my impending liberation. Then, the unexpected. A call, an actual phone call, not a text or a social media ping, a number I don't recognize. Maya Reynolds? A crisp, professional voice asks. Yes? My heart thuds. This is Edward Sterling from Sterling Venture Capital. We received your preliminary inquiry. Your ideas. They're intriguing. We'd like to schedule a meeting. Sterling Venture Capital. I vaguely remember them from my business classes in the other life. A serious firm, a long shot. I'd sent out a dozen feelers, shotgun style, not expecting much. My breath catches. This is moving faster than I dared to hope. The hum of the old dorm refrigerator suddenly sounds like a drum roll. The boardroom at Sterling Venture Capital is intimidating. The scent of rich leather from the high-backed chairs and expensive wood polish fills the air, a world away from my lavender-scented dorm room. My hands feel clammy, but I grip my laser pointer with a steady hand. Edward Sterling and two other partners watch me, their expressions unreadable. I'm terrified, but the memory of Derek's smug face, the years of being dismissed, fuels a fire in my belly. I have to do this, for the me who was and the me I'm becoming. Meridian Events, I begin, my voice clearer than I expect, is currently undervalued and underperforming, but its location, its potential, it's a gold mine waiting for the right vision and capital. I lay out my plan. The acquisition, the phased renovations focusing on modernizing the tech and aesthetics. The targeted marketing strategy? I speak of creating an experience, not just a space. The words flow, a blend of research from this new life and the business acumen I'd slowly, painfully acquired in my previous one. The faint, metallic taste of adrenaline is sharp in my mouth. I see a flicker of interest in Sterling's eyes. He asks sharp questions, probing for weaknesses in my projections. I answer them, my mind racing, pulling on knowledge I didn't realize I still possessed. This rebirth, it wasn't just about reliving time, it was about retaining wisdom. My confidence soars with each successfully fielded query. I'm not just a heartbroken girl anymore. I'm a businesswoman. The meeting ends with a non-committal, "We'll be in touch." But there was a spark, I know it. Walking out of the building, the city air, thick with the aroma of exhaust and street food, feels different, charged with possibility. Back in my dorm, the reality of what I'm trying to do crashes over me. My family, I haven't told them. How do I explain this sudden, intense drive to buy a struggling events venue? In my old life, they'd seen Derek as a catch, and my quiet unhappiness as me just being sensitive. I call my mother. A business? Maya, honey, that's ambitious. What does Derek think? The old familiar sting. Derek and I aren't really, I'm doing this on my own, Mom. Her silence is heavy. The faint scent of her rose-scented hand cream seems to drift through the phone line. Well, be careful, dear. It's a tough world. Understatement of the century, I think. Sterling calls back 2 days later. They're in. Not for the full amount, but enough. A significant loan secured against my trust fund and optimistic future earnings projections. The contract signing is a blur of legal jargon and the crisp, satisfying rustle of important papers. Each signature feels like another step away from the old Maya. Then, just as I'm starting to feel like I have a handle on things, Sarah bursts into the room, waving her phone. Oh my God, Maya, you will not believe this. Jessica Bell just posted on her Insta story. She and Derek, they're engaged. My blood runs cold. Engaged? Already? In my original timeline, it took him another 2 years to propose to me, and even then, it was a lukewarm, almost reluctant affair. With Jessica, it's a whirlwind. Faster, so much faster. The sweet, cloying scent of Sarah's excitement about the gossip is suddenly sickening. My meticulously planned timeline for acquiring Meridian events, for being ready for his eventual engagement party, it's just been thrown into chaos. The game has changed, and the clock is ticking louder than ever. The news of Derek's early engagement lights a fire under me. There's no time to waste. My meetings with the current owners of Meridian Events, a middle-aged couple named Frank and Eleanor Parsons, are tense. They're wary, worn down by financial stress. The venue itself, when I do the official walkthrough, is a shadow of what it will become, and even a shadow of what I remember from Derek's future past engagement party. The grand ballroom is dusty, the carpets old and imbued with the musty smell of countless forgotten celebrations. It's a tired scent, like faded dreams. As I walk through the slightly dilapidated rooms, a wave of unexpected emotion hits me. This was where my wedding to Derek was supposed to have been, in that other lifetime. I'd picked out the floral arrangements, tasted the catering samples, imagined walking down an aisle that now only exists in a dead timeline. My eyes sting, and I fight back tears. Not for Derek, not anymore, but for that younger, hopeful Maya who believed in fairy tales. Frank clears his throat, and I blink, pushing the memories down. This isn't about what was. It's about what will be. The faint, lingering aroma of stale beer from a previous event catches in my throat, a reminder of past revelries and future reckonings. The negotiations are tough. Frank is proud, resistant to admitting the depth of their financial trouble. Eleanor is more pragmatic, her eyes holding a quiet sadness. I lay out my offer, fair but firm. I have the advantage of knowing their desperation, a piece of future knowledge they can't comprehend. I see the flicker of relief in Eleanor's face when they finally accept. The sharp, almost acrid smell of Frank's nervous sweat hangs in the air during the final handshake. Closing the deal is an explosion of paperwork, lawyers, and the satisfyingly solid thud of the notary's stamp. Meridian Events is mine. A thrill, cold and sharp, races through me. I walk through my venue, the keys heavy in my hand. The musty smell is still there, but now it's mixed with the scent of possibility. The blank canvas aroma of a space waiting to be transformed. Immediate changes, that's the priority. I hire a new cleaning crew, top to bottom. Painters arrive the next day, covering the drab beige walls with a sophisticated palette of grays and creams. New lighting fixtures are ordered, designed to banish the gloomy shadows. The old creaking sound system is ripped out. But the most important changes are less visible. I invest heavily in a state-of-the-art security system, cameras, access controls, and a new cloud-based booking system, one that gives me complete oversight. My new staff, handpicked for their professionalism and discretion, are trained meticulously. The faint scent of fresh paint and new beginnings starts to permeate the old building. One afternoon, while I'm reviewing upholstery samples, my new assistant, Clara, buzzes me. Miss Reynolds? There's a Miss Peterson on the line. She's inquiring about booking an engagement party for Mr. Derek Montgomery. A slow smile spreads across my face. Miss Peterson, Derek's mother's assistant. Right on schedule, even if his schedule is accelerated. The scent of the expensive vanilla candle burning on my temporary desk seems to intensify, a sweet note of anticipation. Put her through, Clara, I say, my voice smooth as silk. I'll handle this one personally. The game is afoot. The satisfying click of my pen as I pick it up to take notes feels like loading a very precise weapon. Meridian Events, this is Maya speaking. How can I help you? I use my middle name, a small deception that feels deliciously appropriate. My voice is calm, professional, unrecognizable as the Maya that Derek's mother knows. The faint, almost undetectable scent of the expensive air freshener I'd installed in the reception area wafts into my office. Miss Peterson's voice is crisp, efficient. Yes, I'd like to inquire about booking an engagement party for Mr. Derek Montgomery and Miss Jessica Bell. We're looking at a date approximately 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks. My heart gives a little leap. Perfect. Certainly, I murmur, pulling up the newly installed booking calendar on my screen. It's mostly empty, a deliberate strategy. We do have some availability around that time. What sort of guest count are you anticipating? We go through the details. Number of guests, catering preferences, open bar, all lavish, all expensive. Derek was never one for understatement when it came to showing off. I quote her a premium price, citing our recent renovations and upgraded services. She doesn't even blink. The deposit alone is eye-watering. The satisfying sound of my pen scratching across the digital contract as I fill in Derek's name is music to my ears. Every stroke is a step closer. Excellent, Miss Peterson says, once the date is secured and the deposit processed. Mr. Montgomery will be very pleased. He has fond memories of an event here some years ago. I almost choke. Fond memories? Likely of some conquest or another. We aim to create unforgettable experiences, I reply, my voice laced with an irony only I can appreciate. The metallic tang of suppressed laughter tickles the back of my throat. The next 3 weeks are a whirlwind of meticulous planning. I oversee every detail. The menu is curated to be exquisite, the floral arrangements breathtaking, lilies, of course, a subtle nod to my ghostly arrival in this new timeline. The lighting, the music, even the specific brand of champagne, the same one I'd held, untouched, at his other engagement party, are all chosen with deliberate care. This isn't just an event, it's a performance. And I am the director, producer, and star. I steel myself for the confrontation. There will be one. I know Derek. He won't take this lying down, but I'm ready. The old Maya would have crumbled. The new Maya thrives on this. The scent of determination, sharp and invigorating, is my constant companion. My staff are briefed. They know this is a VIP event, requiring the utmost professionalism. They don't know the full story, of course, just that the client is particular and that I, their new boss, will be personally overseeing the evening. But I plant a trusted friend, Julie, a girl I'd reconnected with from college who was waitressing to pay for grad school, as one of the servers. She knows a little more. She knows Derek. She's my eyes and ears on the floor. The soft, comforting scent of her familiar jasmine perfume during our hushed planning sessions is a small anchor in the storm of my preparations. The ticking clock in my office seems to grow louder with each passing day. 3 days until the party. 2. 1. The air in Meridian Events crackles with anticipation, a mixture of fresh flowers, expensive polish, and my own tightly coiled energy. Tonight, Derek Montgomery is walking into a trap of his own making, and I, Maya Reynolds, venue owner, am ready to spring it. The almost imperceptible tremor in my hands is pure adrenaline. The evening air is cool, carrying the faint scent of rain from an earlier shower as the first guests begin to arrive at Meridian Events. Inside, however, it's all warmth and glittering light. The ballroom is stunning, if I do say so myself. Subtle uplighting makes the new cream walls glow, and the crystal chandeliers, painstakingly cleaned, scatter diamonds of light across the room. The rich aroma of catered hors d'oeuvres, mini quiches, prosciutto-wrapped melon, delicate smoked salmon pinwheels, fills the air, mingling with the expensive perfumes of the early arrivals. My staff, impeccably dressed, move with quiet efficiency. Everything is perfect, almost too perfect. I'm in my office, a small room overlooking the main entrance, watching on the new security monitors. My heart is a hummingbird in my chest. Julie, my friend-turned-server for the night, gives me a subtle thumbs up through the discreet earpiece we're both wearing. "He's here," she murmurs, her voice a calm thread in the buzzing excitement I feel. Derek strides in with Jessica on his arm. He's exactly as I remember from a decade ago, confident, almost arrogant, surveying the room as if he owns it. He probably thinks he does in a way. He's the man of the hour, the groom to be. Jessica looks radiant, blissfully unaware. The sharp, familiar pang of his dismissiveness from the past tightens my chest for a fleeting moment, then dissolves into resolve. He doesn't see me, of course, he never really did. I take a deep breath, smoothing down the lines of my tailored black dress. It's time. I walk out of my office, through the discreet side entrance to the ballroom, and onto the small dais usually reserved for the bandleader or an auctioneer. The clinking of glasses and the murmur of conversation falters slightly as a few heads turn. "Good evening, everyone," I say, my voice amplified just enough by the microphone I'd had installed. It's steady, calm. "Welcome to Meridian Events." More heads turn now, a ripple of curiosity. Then I see him. Derek. His eyes scan the room, find me, and then do a classic double take. His smile freezes. The color drains from his face. His glass, midway to his lips, stops. The scent of his expensive, spicy cologne seems to waft towards me even from across the room. Recognition dawns, followed by pure, unadulterated panic. Jessica looks from him to me, her brow furrowed in confusion. "Derek, honey, who's that?" "I'm Maya Reynolds," I continue, my gaze locking with Derek's. "The owner of Meridian Events, and I'm so pleased you could all make it tonight for Derek and Jessica's engagement party." A collective gasp, a wave of murmurs. The atmosphere in the room shifts, becomes tense, charged. The joyful celebration grinds to a halt. I can feel the weight of every eye in the room, but I only care about his. Derek looks like he's seen a ghost, and in a way, he has. The ghost of the girl he thought he'd left behind, the girl whose RSVPs he so carelessly ignored. "Maya," he finally chokes out, his voice barely a whisper, but in the sudden silence it carries. "What? What are you doing?" I allow myself a small, cool smile. "Ensuring my very important clients have a memorable evening, Derek. And speaking of memorable," I reach for a small stack of cards I'd placed on the lectern earlier. Old RSVP cards, emails, polite rejections, ignored acceptances, all from me, all to him, all meticulously documented. "I believe we have a few past administrative errors to discuss." The scent of panic, sharp and acrid, begins to emanate from Derek's corner of the room. The beautiful, fragrant lilies arranged around the ballroom suddenly seem almost predatory. I watch him, my heart pounding a triumphant rhythm. This is just the beginning. With a deep breath, I make my announcement. "Unfortunately," I say, my voice resonating with quiet authority, "due to some unforeseen circumstances regarding the booking, Meridian Events will be closing for the evening in approximately 1 hour." The collective shock is a palpable wave. The sweet aroma of the expensive cake, waiting to be cut, suddenly seems mocking. Derek pushes through the stunned crowd, his face a mask of disbelief and fury. Jessica trails behind him, her earlier radiance completely extinguished, replaced by a dawning horror. The sharp sound of her high heels clicking frantically on the polished floor echoes in the suddenly silent ballroom. Guests are frozen, champagne flutes halfway to their lips, eyes wide. "Maya, you can't do this," Derek hisses, his voice low and desperate as he reaches the dais. The spicy scent of his cologne now carries a note of sour desperation. "We have a contract. People are here. This is my engagement party." "Your engagement party, Derek," I reply, my voice still calm, a stark contrast to his rising panic. "Booked in my venue, a venue you only managed to secure because once again you benefited from someone else's difficult circumstances." I hold up one of the old ignored RSVP cards from our past. "Remember this one? My acceptance to your cousin's wedding? The one I drove 5 hours for, only to find my seat had been accidentally given away?" His face flushes a dull red. "That was a misunderstanding, years ago. What does that have to do with anything?" "It has everything to do with it." My voice trembles, just for a moment, with the weight of years of suppressed anger and hurt. The metallic taste of unshed tears is sharp on my tongue. "It's about a pattern, Derek. A pattern of dismissal, of making me feel small, invisible. I gesture around the opulent room at the stunned faces of his friends, his family, his new fiancée. You invited me to your engagement party in my old life. After I explicitly RSVP'd, no, you assumed I'd just appear. Or perhaps you didn't care either way. Tonight you booked your party, blissfully unaware that the woman whose calls you used to ignore, whose opinions you scoffed at, now holds the keys to this room. Jessica finally speaks, her voice shaking. Derek, what is she talking about? Who is she? The faint, sweet scent of her floral perfume is now tinged with the acrid aroma of betrayal. Derek rounds on her. She's nobody, Jess, an old acquaintance. She's clearly unstable, trying to ruin our night. His true nature, manipulative and selfish, flares ugly and bright for everyone to see. He tries to grab the microphone from me. I step back, my movement smooth, practiced. Unstable? Or just tired of being treated like I don't matter? I address the room now, my voice ringing with a newfound strength. For 10 years, Derek Montgomery made me feel like an afterthought. He ignored my wishes, belittled my ambitions, and consistently put himself first. He thought I was a doormat. He thought I would always be there, quietly accepting his scraps of attention. Guests are starting to murmur, some looking at Derek with dawning disgust. The air crackles. The scent of expensive food is now heavy, almost rotten, in the charged atmosphere. His parents are trying to shrink into the wallpaper. This is insane! Derek shouts, his composure shattering. He looks wildly around, seeking an ally, but finds only condemnation or shock in the eyes of his guests. Security! Get her out of here! I raise an eyebrow. My security team? They report to me, Derek, and they're here to ensure an orderly exit for all guests when we close in. I glance at the elegant clock on the wall. 52 minutes. His jaw drops. He actually splutters. It would be almost comical if the undercurrent of pain wasn't so raw. He tries to negotiate, to bluster, to threaten. He offers more money. He reminds me of our history. A history he conveniently remembers now that he's losing control. Each word out of his mouth just digs his hole deeper, revealing the grasping, entitled man he truly is. The expensive, creamy aroma of the untouched canapé seems to mock his desperation. Jessica is openly crying now, her beautiful makeup streaked. You lied to me, she whispers to Derek, her voice filled with a pain that mirrors my own past suffering. All this time, I remain calm, professional. A quiet power move that seems to infuriate him more than any shouting could. I let his meltdown play out. Let everyone see him for who he is. The man who builds himself up by tearing others down. The man who thought ignoring an RSVP was a minor slight, not understanding it was a symptom of a much deeper disrespect. Finally, as the first few brave guests begin to make their excuses and head for the door, the clicking of their shoes a death knell for his perfect party, I give a subtle nod to my head of security. Two imposing men step forward. Mr. Montgomery, one says, his voice polite but firm. If you and your remaining party wouldn't mind, we can escort you out. Derek looks from them to me, his face a ruin of thwarted rage and public humiliation. He opens his mouth, then closes it again. There's nothing left to say. The battle is over. I won. The lingering scent of his defeat, more satisfying than any champagne, fills my senses. The last of the guests trickle out, a mixture of bewildered faces and hushed, scandalized whispers. Derek and a small, miserable huddle of his closest family are escorted out by my security team. The grand ballroom, so recently alive with music and laughter, is now echoing and quiet. I stand alone on the dais, the microphone still cool in my hand. The only sound is the distant hum of the city and the soft clinking as my staff begin the discreet process of clearing away the debris of a party that imploded. I take a deep, slow breath. The lingering scent of extinguished candles, vanilla, sandalwood, and a hint of lily hangs in the air, a strangely peaceful aroma. It's over, all the planning, the anxiety, the years of buried resentment. It's all culminated in this quiet, empty room. A wave of exhaustion washes over me, closely followed by an immense, bone-deep satisfaction. My knees feel a little weak, and I lean against the lectern for support. I allow myself to feel it all: the triumph, the relief, the faint, lingering ache for the naive girl I once was, and the fierce pride for the woman I've become. Julie finds me there. She places a comforting hand on my arm. "You okay?" she asks softly, her eyes full of concern and a touch of awe. The familiar grounding scent of her jasmine perfume is a welcome comfort. I nod, a watery smile touching my lips. "Better than okay, Jules. I think I'm finally free." The word tastes sweet, like the first sip of cool water after a long thirst. My staff, the ones who witnessed the whole dramatic crescendo, approach me tentatively at first, then with more confidence as they see my smile. There are quiet congratulations, words of admiration for how I handled the situation. "Never seen anything like it, Miss Reynolds," my head bartender says, shaking his head. He had it coming. Their support, their loyalty, it warms me more than I expected. The faint, clean scent of the industrial cleaning supplies they're starting to use is the smell of a fresh start. Just as the last of the catering team is packing up, a figure hesitates in the doorway. It's Jessica. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her perfect dress slightly rumpled, but she holds herself with a newfound dignity. The strong floral scent that had announced her arrival earlier is now muted, almost fragile. "Miss Reynolds?" she says, her voice quiet but clear. Can I talk to you for a moment?" I nod, gesturing to one of the few remaining chairs. We sit, the vast, empty ballroom, our unlikely confessional. "I just wanted to thank you," Jessica says, looking down at her hands. "I know that sounds strange. Tonight was a nightmare, but you opened my eyes. The things you said about Derek, the way he reacted, I've seen glimpses of it. The dismissiveness, the way he talks about other people. I didn't want to believe it." Her voice trembles. "He told me you were a crazy ex, obsessed with him." A bitter laugh escapes me. Standard playbook. "He's not the person I thought he was." She finally looks up, a flicker of resolve in her tear-filled eyes. "Thank you for showing me before it was too late." The faint, almost imperceptible scent of her tears is a sad, universal perfume. We talk for a while longer. Two women connected by the unfortunate experience of Derek Montgomery. When she leaves, there's a sense of solidarity, of a shared burden lightened. The news of the party's dramatic end spreads like wildfire through our old social circles. My phone buzzes with messages from people I haven't heard from in years, some curious, some supportive, some undoubtedly gossiping. Derek's reputation, so carefully curated, is in tatters. Meridian Events, however, is suddenly the talk of the town. In the following weeks, booking inquiries pour in. Businesses wanting a venue with character. Couples intrigued by the story, by the owner who took a stand. The scent of success, crisp and clean like freshly printed money, begins to fill my days. I realize, with a jolt that has nothing to do with adrenaline and everything to do with self-awareness, that I'm stronger than I ever imagined. This rebirth wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclamation, reclaiming my time, my dignity, my power. The next day, I call my bank. Derek's hefty deposit for the party sits in my account. "I'd like to transfer the full amount," I tell the pleasantly surprised bank manager, "to the downtown women's shelter." A quiet power move, one that seals his humiliation with an act of genuine good. The sweet scent of justice is the best perfume of all. Standing in the empty ballroom later that week, as the first consultations for new events begin, I look around. This venue, it's more than just bricks and mortar. It's a symbol of my transformation. From the girl who was ignored to the woman who owns the room. The faint, persistent aroma of fresh paint and new beginnings is a promise of the bright future ahead, my future on my terms. 6 months fly by in a whirlwind of activity. Meridian Events isn't just surviving, it's thriving. The initial notoriety from Derek's disastrous engagement party has morphed into a reputation for being the place for chic, impeccably run events. The fresh scent of flowers is a constant in my life now. Lilies for weddings, vibrant roses for corporate galas, cheerful sunflowers for birthday celebrations. Each event is a small victory, a testament to the vision I fought for. The air in the venue always seems to hum with a quiet energy, the aroma of success and happy occasions. My days are filled with client meetings, vendor negotiations, and the satisfying challenge of building a business from the ground up. I've become a respected businesswoman, something the old Maya, the one who deferred to Derek's opinions on everything, would never have dreamed possible. The sharp, invigorating scent of freshly brewed coffee is my morning ritual as I pore over spreadsheets and marketing plans. I've even started mentoring a couple of young women from the local college, sharing my admittedly unusual story and encouraging their entrepreneurial ambitions. My personal life has blossomed too. I'm seeing someone. David. He's an architect, kind, intelligent, and most importantly, he listens. He looks at me like I'm the only person in the room, his eyes crinkling at the corners when I tell a joke. The comfortable, warm scent of his worn leather jacket when he drapes it over my shoulders on a cool evening is a small, perfect joy. There are no power plays, no dismissals, just respect. It's a revelation. He knows the broad strokes of the Derek story. Everyone in our circle does by now. But he's more interested in the Maya of today, the one building an empire, one perfectly executed event at a time. And Derek, from what I hear through the grapevine, is not doing so well. His engagement to Jessica ended spectacularly the day after the party. His social standing took a massive hit. People saw his true colors that night, the arrogance, the cruelty. Last I heard, he'd taken a job in another city, trying to escape the whispers and the pointed looks. The news brings not a sense of glee, but a quiet, detached satisfaction. His downfall was his own making. The faint, bitter scent of his past arrogance no longer has any power over me. My family, initially skeptical of my sudden foray into the business world, are now my biggest cheerleaders. My mother, bless her, still occasionally asks if I'm being careful, but there's a new note of pride in her voice. She even brought her book club to Meridian Events for their annual luncheon. The familiar, comforting scent of her rose hand cream, once a reminder of her gentle anxieties for me, now smells like approval. They finally see my strength, my vision. They see me. The success of Meridian Events has been so significant that I'm already scouting locations for a second venue. The challenges are immense, but the thrill of creation, of building something lasting, is addictive. The slightly dusty, hopeful scent of old, forgotten buildings now smells like opportunity to me. Each potential new space whispers promises of future triumphs. Sometimes, in a quiet moment, usually late at night in my office after a successful event, I reflect on the rebirth. That impossible, terrifying, wonderful moment in my dorm room. It changed everything. It wasn't just about escaping a bad relationship or getting revenge. It was about being given the rarest of gifts, the chance to become the person I was always meant to be, before I let someone else dim my light. The subtle, almost undetectable scent of lavender from a sachet I now keep in my desk drawer is a quiet reminder of where I started and how far I've come. One afternoon, an email lands in my inbox. The sender, Derek Montgomery. My heart gives a small, involuntary lurch, a ghost of old reflex. The subject line, "Can we talk?" I hesitate for only a second. Then, with a steady hand, I type my reply. Derek, I wish you well in your future endeavors. However, I believe we've said all that needs to be said. My focus is on my present and my future, both of which are looking very bright. I'd appreciate it if you'd respect that. I hit send. No anger, no bitterness, just finality. The faint, clean scent of the citrus-based cleaner my staff uses in the office is the smell of a clean break. A few weeks later, I established the Maya Reynolds Second Chance Scholarship Fund, dedicated to helping young women entrepreneurs get their start. It's funded initially by the profits from what would have been Derek's engagement party, and now by a percentage of Meridian Events' ongoing earnings. A quiet power move, turning the ashes of a painful past into fuel for someone else's future. The proud, hopeful scent of the scholarship application forms piled on my desk is the sweetest perfume I've ever known. The full circle moment comes when I agree to host an entrepreneurship seminar for students from my old college at Meridian Events. Standing on the dais again, not in a tailored black dress of retribution, but in a vibrant suit of success, I look out at the eager young faces. The air is thick with the aroma of ambition and potential. the same scent that filled my own small dorm room all those months or years ago. Many of you, I begin, my voice clear and confident, resonating through the beautiful room I built, will face moments where people doubt you, dismiss you, or try to make you feel small. I pause, letting my gaze sweep across the audience. Your power lies not in changing them, but in changing how you react. In knowing your worth, even when others don't. In taking your second chances, or even your first chances, and building something that is undeniably, unapologetically yours. Later that evening, after the last student has left, filled with new ideas and, I hope, a little inspiration, I stand in the center of my ballroom. The lights are low, casting long, soft shadows. The lingering scent of coffee and donuts from the seminar mingles with the ever-present aroma of flowers and polish. I am Maya Reynolds, owner, entrepreneur, survivor, victor, transformed, empowered. And I will never, ever let anyone dismiss me again. The night air, when I finally step outside, is cool and clean, carrying the promise of 1,000 bright tomorrows. And this time, I'm ready for every single one of them.